Hey, decision makers. Want to stay in the loop with exclusive content and the opportunity to be on the show? Text DECIDE to 218-432-9722 now, and let's get connected today.
Your efforts are always rewarded when you work hard. Sometimes when you don't see it right away, you stop working hard. But ultimately, you're the one who is a benefactor of your hard work. So why not work hard so you can get the things that you want? Because it's not because the money you made, you're like, yo, I just had a thought, I did the work, and I got something for it.
Welcome to the Just a Decision podcast, where we speak to our guests about the decisions they made in life, the good, the bad, their regrets, the decisions they're currently making, and the decisions they're gonna make for the future. Subscribe, like, comment on the video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And remember, we're available on all streaming platforms.
Today, I have the honor of introducing my brother, Juan Zabala.
What's up?
How's everything going?
Chilling.
Okay.
Glad to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Cool. We start off with two questions. First one, what's your favorite dish and from where?
So my favorite dish always will be, has been, and continues to be rice and beans
Okay.
with whatever. Like, chicken, steak, whatever. It don't matter. And usually at home is probably the best place where I enjoy it. But other than that, any restaurant, I just, you can't mess up rice and beans to me.
Okay.
Very hard to mess that up for me.
Is there any good spots in DC or?
DC, yeah, they got some good spots. They got Los Hermanos is a good spot, Dominican spot, a bunch of spots. I'm saying, right? I said a bunch of spots. I got one name, but there's a bunch of spots. I don't remember the name. I have to be going.
Okay, cool. Me asking about him in DC. Currently, we're in DC on this episode where Juan Zabala currently lives. Second question, someone gives you a blank check. Whatever number you write on it is cash in the next day. And your checking's not your saving.
All right, word.
What's the first thing you're going to spend it on?
My first thought is to just invest it. Like, take it, invest it, and invest it in some, like, the people that I wanted to get the dividends from it.
Okay.
So, like, a blank check, I'll buy everybody in my family an apartment building, and then you can cash out. That way, if anything happens, you still got something that's giving you money. So that's how I would do it. Invest in people that, my family members and people that I love. Okay. And make that money make money so that it's long lasting. It's not like a one-time event. It's a forever event.
I love that. That generational wealth type of investment.
Something like that. Yeah, that's where we would go. Yeah, and hopefully, and maybe some scholarships here and there for kids that want to go to school and all that. Yeah, so that's what type of time we'd be on. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna take a journey through your life decisions. What's one of the earliest memories you have at a young age making that decision? So, for example, your mom's like, you can't eat dessert before dinner. And you go into the closet and sneak that cake or that snack or dessert.
So I grew up in a store. So my parents owned a bodega my whole life. So since I was a little kid, we had a business. And I guess for me, it was always decisions that I would always make is whether the player come work. And typically it was always working. So it was like things like that. And in terms of like, maybe overeating chips, I would always eat some chips because we had them there, right? So I was just go in there, take a chip, eat some chips all day, even though we had food. And then when the food came, I wouldn't eat because I would eat all the damn Doritos. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it'd be like stuff like that. So I was that decision, I guess.
Okay.
Something like that.
You said you grew up in a store. Where was the store at?
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah. So my family, we immigrated here from the Dominican Republic. I was born there. And my parents came here. They were working like in factories, all that stuff. And then my dad got the idea to open up a store. So we were able to, by the grace of God, we opened up a store. And then that's where I grew up most of my life until I went to college. I was the kid at the bodega. You go to any bodega, any hood, it was me sitting in the cashier selling Newports to old people. I couldn't smoke a cigarette. I could sell them though.
Okay.
Like, whatever. Yeah, so you got a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Cool. When you said play or go to work, what was that other option to play? Like when you say that?
Play, not PlayStation, it was like Nintendo, Game Boy or something like that. Just like to be distracted. Cause like something that comes with like owning a store is that you're always in the limelight kind of. Like everybody, like in any neighborhood, you go to that local store, the person at the store knows everybody, right? So like everybody knows you, even if you don't want to be seen, people know you. So I would go to school and people would know if I got in trouble, it'd get to my store real quick. I'd get in trouble at home. It would happen quickly, right? Because people knew how to find you. So I learned like, I learned to appreciate peace and being by myself because people were always around you. Like you didn't have to do much to get a lot of attention.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So I was hood famous, I would say, right? Like hood famous. Okay. Yeah.
So your dad's first idea of like, let me start this store. Did he have anybody to look to or mentorship, or he was like, I'm gonna take this money, buy this building?
I would say in my life, and this, I'm not trying to be like exaggerate. My dad's probably the most confident, arrogant, most belief in themselves person I ever met in my entire life.
Okay.
He came from Dominican Republic, didn't know the language here, opened up a little like he leased a bodega first from like a guy who just like was fronting the spot.
Okay.
Doing some stuff. Like, but allegedly, right? And then like he was able to go to like a bank and the lady at the bank kind of helped him to get the loan so that he could buy the restaurant from a guy. He was like a Greek dude whose dad was an immigrant. So he kind of saw like his dad and my dad, you know what I mean? So he was the one who sold the store to my dad. But my dad didn't speak, English. He just knew math because he was an engineer in Dominican Republic. But he came here and he wasn't doing nothing. Like, not that he wasn't doing nothing. He wasn't like, imagine being like a lawyer in your home country, coming here and working like in a factory. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like to move down like that.
Yeah.
But he came here and then he had the arrogance of somebody who's, I'm that dude, right? Like he show up, I'm that dude. And then he was able to just like, whatever he put his mind to, he was willing to do. I saw that from a very young age. Like there's not very much limitations, right? So I find myself being like, I'm more like laid back than my father is, but I think I still have his arrogance. Like the confidence in yourself comes from him. He's like, yo, if they could do it, they breathing, I'm breathing, why can't I do it? And that's kind of like where he didn't need a mentor. I think he saw people doing it and then he believed he could do it just because.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that energy. Because I feel like it's good to have that role model in your life and watch what someone can do when they didn't have the information to start. So it's like you never have that excuse, well, you had this and you had that. You're like, your dad's like, well, what I have.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
So with this store, your dad, was there any other family functions within the store or?
Yeah, so it was all of us. So it was my dad, my mother, my sister. I have 2 younger brothers and myself. And we was working. Everybody's working, bro. I always tell people there's not a person in America, the United States of America, who could bag groceries faster than I can. I swear, anybody want to challenge me, whoever want to challenge me, come challenge me. It don't matter, wherever. And because I learned every day, I was just bagging groceries, cashing check. And the thing about when you have a store in your hood, in that environment, I gotta stop saying, like, in that environment, you got to learn how to like outthink thieves, outthink like people who want to do wrong to you. And like every time somebody walked into the store, you learn how to size people up to see what their intentions are. So I kind of got good at like understanding people. I try to say to myself, I try not to like judge nobody, but if you try to do me harm, I could sense it. Like I know what's going on. Like, and that's because every time somebody walked into that door, you didn't know what their intentions were. So you got to kind of read them because people are getting shot. Like in our neighborhood, people like robbing. The dude down the block, they try to rob him, they killed him. Like it's like stuff like that. So you're always like on alert in that type of environment. But it was a good time in terms of like I say all that, right? It was a good time in terms of like learning people, learning community, learning all that stuff. Like we had to out trick people. So we always like some tricks that we would do is that we would never leave more than $120 in the cash register. So we would take turns. Like we put it in a plastic in a paper bag. We put the money that was over $120, put it in a paper bag, and we would each take turns. So if somebody's gonna rob us, you know which one of us had the money. So that we would go upstairs, leave it upstairs, and then that's where the money was till we deposited it in the bank. So it was like you had to play games like that because you don't know what anybody else's intentions are. It wasn't like there wasn't everybody. This was a Malibu, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like So it was a cool. It was an interesting upbringing. It informed a lot of the decisions moving.
I don't like to label cities, but so Reading, PA. I don't know nothing about Reading, PA. It was considered a dangerous city.
I guess in the context of danger, right?
Yeah.
Like I would say it's a city that it's a great city with rough around the edges, right?
Gotcha.
In certain neighborhoods.
Okay.
And mine was one of those, it was one of those neighborhoods.
Okay.
But great people, right? Like
Yeah.
It informs a lot of, like, as we talk about this, and maybe I'll let you guide it, man, because I'll start talking crazy.
Bro, this is a regular podcast for regular people.
Word.
And these conversations I felt like more people should have.
Yeah.
And me and you have these conversations on the side, but I feel like me starting this podcast, it gets more people, I don't know if that's the right word to say that, but it gives more people the opportunity to listen and start these conversations without people like us being in that room.
Yeah.
So feel free.
Yeah, no, so I think like it kind of something that, like, as you get older, right? Like, now that I meet people in different spaces, something that like, you know, like when you grow up in the environment where like the people who commit crimes are your neighbors, you like empathize with them. But you can see, stepping back from that environment, you can see and be like, damn, killing people is wrong, even though I think that guy's a good guy.
Yeah.
And you look crazy for being like, that guy's a good guy, but he just killed somebody. You're like, no, but like we used to play basketball and we just like, so like the way that you look at the world is like, you have some empathy, but you do understand that there has to be like consequences to the things that somebody does that harms other people.
Yeah.
But sometimes I see it where like people look at people who like grow up in these environments are like, yo, you crazy for supporting somebody who's like a killer or a drug dealer. These are the scum of the earth. And you're just like, I can see what you mean. But that's my guy though. Like we was like hooping and he had empathy for me because he was willing to get in a fight over here or do what, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they had like empathy for you so you can have empathy for them. But like the outside world is like, nah, that motherfucker, he crazy, yo. Like, you know, so it like growing up in that environment kind of like shifts your thinking and allows you to think in that environment and then outside of it. Because you forget that most of the world isn't the hood. But if you're in the hood, that's all you know. Like that's all the world is to you. Like hoods. So it was just, I don't know. It was an interesting upbringing in that environment.
You speaking on that, it reminds me of like the Venn diagram. So you have your way of thinking, society's way of thinking, and then you got the middle one where it's like you got to think here. Sometimes you got to think here, all at the same time. So at a young age, processing all that information, you grow up fast.
You grow up fast, yeah. And that's like, it's unfortunate though, like, because I remember like being younger, we all wanted to grow up. That's the one thing I see that's the difference between like kids that have great upbringings and kids that don't is the ability in which you have to become an adult. You shouldn't have to rush to be an adult.
Yeah.
But like we kind of like, you have to, like in our environment, like you're not taking care of your friends. Somebody come over here and do you harm. You gotta be able to fight. You gotta do this. Like, and like you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to be like, hey, I just got an A on my test. Yay, yeah, celebrate it and all that, like as a kid. And like sometimes you don't get that opportunity. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because like as you get older, you see the impact of what your adolescence creates when it gets older.
Yeah.
And then, so like I always reflect back on like my childhood because of that. Cause I'm like, damn, yo, that kid was mad smart. How'd he end up here? Or damn, he ended up here. Look at his kid on the same path. How was that happen? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like they weren't allowed to be a kid, so their kids aren't allowed to be kids. Everybody's speeding up.
Yeah.
But the moment that you get out that cycle and you're able to allow a kid to like have the process of being a kid, that's when you get kids who are empathetic and actually like are able to do things that change those environments for the long term. Because everybody else is just, yo, he could fight, my son could fight too. Come on, bring him over here. You know what I mean? So it's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of perspectives, and like that one decision someone can make, and it leaves their family or leads their family into the high rise in New York City or the high rise in DC. One of my mentors, he always says, someone growing up in the inner city can make it anywhere, but someone anywhere can't make it in the inner city.
That's a fact.
Just watching that, it was something worded like that. I'm sure he said it better. But it was just like your mindset of with growing up fast at a young age. It's like, yo, when you're older, you can lean back and be like, wow, I can't believe I did this or this happened or look where I'm at now. So when you go back and talk to kids like that, you're like, do you really got to do that? Because I raised around from the corner of your grandmom and your auntie, and look where I'm at. And not to be boastful, but it's like, dude, you don't have to live the life you see. You can live the life you dream of or want.
Agreed.
Just by small decisions. You don't gotta make big decisions. But that don't do this or don't do that.
And it's crazy. To your point, I think like when you talk about like small decisions, I feel like the poorest kids in the world have the biggest ambitions about being wealthy. But like wealth is like this marathon, this like slow grind. So like I always tell like a young kid, I always like, how much did your parent make? Can you double that just for yourself? And at least you got out of whatever you were in, right? Like you're taking a path forward, but just like in a realistic way. Like my mom, like your family made $20,000 a year for the 4 of y'all. Let's get to 40 for you. Like, and then you can keep going. Like, but at least get there. And then you like stop the cycle for a little bit. Just like that little step. Like go, like that McDonald's job isn't that bad. It really isn't. Like it really isn't. You know what I mean? Like, but we have this like misconception that because we have to grow up fast, we have to get to millions fast too. We have to get out of this poverty thing as fast as possible. And nobody does that. That's not true. Like, there's nobody in the history of like whatever that got out of like people be like Mark Zuckerberg was 20, his mom was an accountant, his dad was whatever. Like he was already somewhere pretty good. You know what I mean? Like
he had to worry about certain things.
He had to worry about certain things, and like you might get 1 or 2 rappers that make it, and then that's why we all want to be rappers, like or play basketball. But like that's not the real path. That's why it's like 1 out of how many rappers make it, 1 out of how many basketball players, football like. But you could be a dentist.
Yeah. and God forbid you already 5'7" at 33 years old. You're like, I'm definitely not going to be.
But then be at LA Fitness like they are, though. Like, going hard.
Yeah. Just a sidetrack. When you said goals and that 20 to 40, I have a lot of mentors.
Yeah.
And one thing they said, a lot of people that have goals don't do it. They don't track it.
That's
so something simple you could do is January, February, March. January, I made 5,000. February, I made 1. What happened between that 5 to 1,000? What can I fix? So the chart goes up and up and up. And a lot of people, when they have these goals, they just don't track it. So you're like, well, what happened? You didn't track.
That's
what was the tweak or what was the mess up where your numbers are going down and not up? And a lot of people don't have, I guess, the right mentors or coaches to be like, yo, can you help me? Or they're just nervous of asking for help.
Yeah. And that's like like it's a fear thing. Again, I think that comes from like how you're introduced to being a man or a woman or however, like how like I don't want to ask you for help because I look weak. Like, yo, how do you get these these microphones? Where you get them at? Like, I might be scared to ask you because like, oh, he's gonna think I'm biting off of his stuff. Like, or he think I'm gonna try to be like, you know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes we have like this fear of like, yo, I don't want to be look like I'm trying to bite off of him or trying to like be like him, as opposed to like if he's successful and I'm successful, we're successful together, or like longing for somebody else's success. Like I want you to be successful because it's easy for me to say, yo, you know Josh from the Just a Decision podcast, that's my man. You know? And then somebody be like, yo, you can introduce me to him? Yeah, but you want to do business together? And then I'll introduce you. You know what I'm saying? Like you get leverage when your friends are successful, and like sometimes we're like afraid to help one another or afraid to ask for help from people who want us to be successful too. Yeah. Like I'm sure you want me to be successful too, so we can like
be successful
work,
together.
And work with one another to like for that success. Because it's easier to work with your friends and be successful than it is like a stranger.
Yeah. And I'm going back again with I'm listening to a lot of different things. So like a lot of people like listening to music. I like podcasts or audios or information. So today, like you said, someone would be scared to share that information of you trying to bite off them or steal their idea. Me and Lamar were listening to a podcast, and they was like, yeah, if I went on Amazon and bought this, I could do an Amazon associate. Amazon creates me a link that I share to you, and I get paid off that link. So shoot, you could buy 50 of these things if you want. I'm trying to get paid. Share that link as many times as you can. Because I'm trying to get paid. Like we sell 100 of these things. I'm trying to be an affiliate with Rode or all these big companies.
Exactly. And that's what's gonna happen as the company grows, as the business grows, as your vision grows.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to like when I was a kid, I always believe in entrepreneurs because I grew up around like my father, my parents, my mother, they started businesses. They didn't know English. They didn't like, and this motherfucker, he said, yo, you know what? I'm here. And because he said, I'm here, things started happening because he wasn't like, I'm here, help me. Or he was like, I'm here, I'm moving. You want to move with me? No, you want to move with me? Like, I'm moving regardless if you're coming or not. So I was encouraged. Like, I'm always encouraging like entrepreneurs, like, because I'm like, any mistake that you make, like regardless, whatever it is, right? Like any mistake that you make, that's an opportunity right there to like get better in your business and guides. Cause like your failures or your mistakes are lessons for other people who are leaning on you to like learn or whatever. Like, yo, like the first time you put this microphone on and it wasn't working and you're like, yo, you got to connect it to the plug or whatever. You're like, next time you came, you connected to a plug, the show happened faster, everything happened quicker. And then now like things like it starts flowing. Like, but you made the initial mistake. But if you did nothing, you wouldn't have even made the mistake. But now you made the mistake, you got better, things got better, the business is growing. And like, I think that what happens a lot of times is like, we don't see success 10 years from now. If it doesn't happen immediately, we're like, guess it's not going to pay off. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's a way that like, I think you have to be around people who want you to be successful and people who like understand that it's a process to success. Like, so I think it's very important. And again, that goes back to like the most arrogant person in my life. The person who I had to like watch was my father. And that dude is like, to this day, I haven't met anybody like that, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm always grateful to both of my parents because of the upbringing that they allowed me to have. And there was times when you're younger, you're like, damn, yo, I just want to play. Yo, why do I got to be over here with a price gun, pricing groceries in the aisles and all that stuff and working and all that? But like, it created a discipline in you where you're just like, yo, responsibility. You have a responsibility to your family. You have a responsibility. This is what we're in right now. This is what we're doing. Right? This is what we're doing. And this is how we provide for one another. Let's do this, right? Even if I hated it, I'd be mad as hell. And then I was like, dang, I hate this. You know what I'm saying? But you learn like the benefits of it. Like, you learn the benefits of it.
Yeah, you hated it now, but as an adult, you're like, oh man, I appreciate every little thing I learned. Because you can apply it to now. Like again, those kids that don't learn nothing at a young age, now they're adults and like, what do I do?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a cool process to see because a lot of things that as when you were a kid that you hated were probably like informed how you act today, right? Like, yo, don't go over there and steal. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a funny story. Like this is when we were in the store. There was a Lifeline. There was a youth center right next door to our store. So like kids from all over the city of Reading would come. Okay. And there was a pastor that had a like youth outreach from a ministry. And he would bring kids from all over the city. The kids were like wilding. They were wilding. The one day I was like I was at the center and the kids was like, yo, let's go to the store next door. I'm just chilling. I go with them. And then the kid goes like where the chips are. And he looks at me. He's like, yo, my man, watch my back. I was like, what? He's like, watch my back. I was like, yo, this is my store. Oh, shit. No, I wasn't even doing nothing like that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I was mad. I was like, what's the fuck? But it was whatever. Because I was like, damn, these kids is really wilding. But then I started watching them every time they came in after that. Yeah. But I grew up next to like a youth ministry and the store was right there. Okay. Like my neighborhood had a lot of characters. So I was always grateful to it because my neighborhood had a lot of characters.
Cool. So you grew up fast at a young age. What was high school like as a main part of the community?
Yeah, high school was interesting because that's when we're all trying to find ourselves. A lot of kids, we're all trying to find ourselves, man. And we either become followers or something. I don't even know if we become leaders, but we definitely become followers, decision makers, and we get to pick what we follow. And a lot of us don't follow the right things. Very few leaders in that age bracket, right? Because we just like looking at the people who are around us and go, I want to be like that dude because he got a Benz and he get all the shorties. Or I want to be like this dude who's a square and goes to work every day. Like I don't know what he does, but he goes to work every day and he comes home to his family. That guy right there looks a little bit better, right? But at the time, I find myself very fortunate because I had my father and my mother in the store. So people protected me kind of like in my neighborhood, at least. I would say like they protected me. They didn't let me get into like bad stuff, even though I had friends that did all those bad things. But I think in high school, I was able to go the right way. I was able to go the right way, even if people were doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Because people knew that I wasn't a bad kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they allowed me not to be a bad kid.
Yeah.
Right? So like they're like, no, that's the kid from the store. Leave him alone. Like whatever.
Yeah.
And I was allowed to not do those things. I was also like relatively smart, but I got into like high school and I got like lazy.
Okay.
Cause you start like doubting yourself, like, right? Like you don't know what life looks like outside of what you're in. So it's like, why do I gotta go to college? Why do I gotta do this? Why do I gotta do homework? Why do I gotta do all this stuff? And then I go, all right, like, and then you just do the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Just to get by.
Yes, to get by, as opposed to trying your best to see what the best will lead you to. But you just like, I don't know anything better because I couldn't find anybody. Like, I want to go to Harvard. I don't know nobody to go to Harvard. I don't know that many people that went to college in that setting. And I got lucky because my sister went to college. My sister and I are a year apart.
Okay.
My sister went to college, and then she created kind of like the path for her brother, like me, to go to college too. So she like kind of opened the door because I was like, I don't know, man. I want to go be a cop. I remember having these conversations like. And the guy, the one day he said that my parents, my mom, my dad, they really wanted us to go to college. They wanted that for us. Like they came to America. They were college educated, but like in a different country. But they wanted that for us. They were like, yo, we want you guys to go to college. You guys could be all you could be. Yeah. Like all that. And then I was like, you know, like you always like, when you like a boy, you're like, I want my own thing. I don't want you to tell me what to do, like whatever. And then my dad took me to some guy, his friend, Juan Ramirez, and he was talking to me. He was like, it's like, we all have hands. You can go do something, go work with your hands, but eventually your hands get old. You can't work the same way, arthritis, whatever. But if what you can do with your hands, you can like put in your mind and teach it or learn it, that'll last you much longer. So like, he was like very big on education. Like your hands could break. Your mind usually does it, right? Right? Yeah. So he's like, the more information you can put in your mind, the more you can learn, the better your life will be. And I was still like, yeah, all right. But then I still like applied to college.
Okay.
After that. And luckily I got into Shippensburg University. That's where I went to college. Yeah.
Where'd your sister go?
She went to Lock Haven, another state school in Pennsylvania, Lock Haven University in Pennsylvania. Yeah. So all of us, me and my siblings, we all went to college. I'm very proud of them. They've done some things. My sister right now, she's in her doctoral program. Okay. My other brother, he graduated from Kutztown University. My youngest brother went to Penn State, and now he's getting his master's at UPenn in Pennsylvania. So like they're doing.
Clap it up.
So yeah, so like I'm proud of them, but I think the foundation was our parents had a vision for what they wanted us to accomplish, and I think they did as much as they could, and then handed us off to the world.
Yeah. Those people that you said that played an impact in your life, I like to call those people bumpers. Can you think of where I get the term bumpers from?
They bump your pad. I don't know. You tell me.
So it's like bowling. Your objective is to get a strike, but when you're not good at bowling, they pull up the bumpers.
That's right.
So you're trying to get the strike, and you go into the gutter. The bumper goes, nah. You got to go this way.
Yeah.
You hit the other bumper. Nah, you got to go this way. So it's very important to have those people in your life that you stay in communication with that keep you on track. Because that one decision that
put you in the road, put you
in the gutter, and now you stuck there. Now your whole game is based off that one gutter, and now you'll never get that strike because you're constantly focused on, I'm gonna get a gutter.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. I agree with that.
Cool. So your decisions on going to SHIP, what played besides your big sister, what played a role in Shippensburg University?
Not that many other people wanted me. My GPA wasn't that good. Okay. So Shippensburg showed me some love. So I love Shippensburg because they showed me love. So I was able to get into Shippensburg, and man, if that wasn't what I needed in my life, I love Shippensburg University. Mm-hmm. Like it changed. I want to say that it changed the trajectory of my life. I want to say that it really did. Because that was like one of the first things I was like, when I graduated from Shippensburg, that was one of the first things I could say I was really proud of. Because I was like, damn, I don't know if I can do this. Let me go try to do this. Yeah. And then I was able to accomplish that. And while I was there, I think I made a lot of good decisions while I was there. So I joined a lot of organizations. I was like the president of a few organizations. I was on Student Senate. I try to be an impact leader. One of the other biggest decisions while I was in Shippensburg was I I joined our fraternity. I joined Psi Sigma Phi, multicultural fraternity. And I'm not saying it because you're my frat brother. Yeah. I'm not saying it because you're my frat brother or they're in the building. But it was one of the...
Shout out to Hobby in the background.
Shout out to Hobby.
His episode's coming up next.
Word. I'm not saying it because y'all are here. I'm saying it because for me, that was one of those decisions in my life that changed how I looked at the world. Like it wasn't because of the colors. I was like, it wasn't because of the people that were coming, even though they were cool. I was like, It was like, I believed in it. I believed in like what it stood for, like multiculturalism, and brotherhood and putting people together. It didn't matter to me if it was the biggest thing in the world, if it was the smallest organization in the world. But I got in a room with the dude who was Vietnamese, Liberian, Black, white, Irish, me, I'm Dominican, like all of us in the same room, and we mattered to one another. It wasn't just like me worrying about like, this is just Latino stuff, this is whatever. And it opened up my mind because it allowed me to look introspectively of how I looked at the world with my own perspective. Like I remember the one time I was talking to one of my frat brothers at my chapter. I won't say his name, but I said some things, ignorant stuff. I was ignorant for saying, I was like, yeah, yo, because when we in the hood, we just talk reckless. So it's like, yeah, you know how Chinese people talk? And he was like, and he looked at me, he was like, yo, what? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what you mean? Like, that's how we talk. Like,
that's to check you.
Yeah, like, and it wasn't even trying to check me. It was like, he gave me the opportunity to learn about my own ignorance. Like, he was like, well, how, if I was like, guala, guala, guala to everything you said, like, how would you feel about that? Like, you're just putting, like, you feel like you could do it for somebody else, right? Because you're in the majority, but when you come in the minority and people do it to you, you feel a certain type of way about it.
He's attacking me.
Yeah, but like, you do it to other people. So like, it made you self-aware, like, damn, I shouldn't be doing that. Like, right? So he was breaking social fears and right? And ignorances, right? And like, that was like, to me, that was just cool to see. And like, it's something that's benefited me throughout my entire life, because that was the first time I was around dudes that were from like the environments that I was from, that today, when I met them, they were political science majors. Today, they're lawyers. They were criminal justice majors. Now they're police officers, right?
Yeah.
They work in higher education. They work in all these things. But when I met them, they weren't those things. But now I have resources where I could be like, yo, this is going on. What do you think? What do you think? My cousin's thinking about going to college. Let me hit up Joe Hobby, whoever. Like, yo, what's the process? What would they have to do?
Yeah.
And it's like real relationships. And if I didn't join it, I don't know where else I would have like that place where I could go to like somebody else. Or if there's something that happens in Iran or in another country that maybe I haven't heard of, there might be somebody who could like, yo, what's up with that? Like, tell me about that. I don't know nothing about that. What is going on? Like, you know? And that's the beauty of the decision that I made at 18 years old that I'm still benefiting from years later.
We were networking before networking was a thing.
Before it was a thing, yeah. So it's like, and it's like, it's real. Like, I don't got to meet you as a stranger. I got to meet you as like, I know you. Like, like, yo, you know,
Yep.
And it's like, and that was like one of the best decisions I ever made. And I tell people that all the time. And I'm not saying it because I'm in this room with a couple of my frat brothers. I'm saying that because it was like one of the best things. And I don't know if I would have joined something that was more suited just to me, my culture, if I would have learned the same things. Yeah. You know? Or if I didn't join a fraternity at all, if I would have learned the same things that I was able to learn because I joined it.
Yeah. So in terms of your degree, what'd you get your degree in?
So I got a degree in, I started as a biochemistry major.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I watched the episode of CSI. I thought I was going to be a forensic scientist. I was like, yo, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be on TV. Nah, so I went from there, and then I went to be an elementary school teacher. Okay. But then they said you had to stay an extra semester, and I was like, nah.
Student teaching.
Yeah, I was like, nah. But I like the school thing because I think it's important. Like, if you can influence younger kids, you could influence the future. Yeah. But I was like, nah, I ain't saying nothing. Y'all good on that. Like, y'all can keep that.
I stayed extra 2 years. I love school so much.
Yeah, I wish I'm not looking at the grand scheme of things. I think you were onto something. Oh, you were onto something.
I'd be like, yeah, I graduated college. And Javi always be like, yeah, but it took him a couple extra years. So I just tell people, it's like, yeah, I love school so much, but don't love it like me.
No, stay there forever, yo. If I could, I would stay there forever. come to the real world. Stay in school. Stay in school forever.
Cool.
But, yeah.
So, cause you made it to graduation day because you got the degree.
Yeah. So I got the degree in economics. So that's why I got my degree in economics.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, those first couple years is, you're like, cause college, you just go to class. If you work, you work. And it's just, you just going with the flow. There's a party here, there's a party there. Let me call out sick. And then graduating, fear comes into your play. Cause you're like, what do I do? Cause you realize that degree isn't your ticket into a job.
Yeah.
Unless your mom knows somebody, your dad somebody, your Theo. If you don't have that ticket, you're like, yo, what do I do? Like, I spent 4 years and a couple $1,000s. What was your decisions after college?
So after college, I've always been of the entrepreneur mindset.
Okay.
Now I changed. There's a little things I've changed here and there, but I try to get a job. And I remember I went to Wells Fargo to get a job. And then they were asking me these like interview questions. Yo, I suck at interviews when I first came out. Cause the guy was like, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I'm gonna be here for about 2 years or something, learn how you guys do these mortgages, reverse mortgages, whatever mortgages. And then I'm probably gonna start my own thing in 2 years. And then I was like, and they were like, nah, we don't really, like, I hit them up. I was like, yo, I haven't heard back from y'all. I ain't hear back.
Wow.
Like, yeah, we don't need your services, sir. Word. All right. So I was in a decent spot. My family, we owned a restaurant at the time.
Okay.
So while I was in college, and we had a bar restaurant, and we were expanding. So we were gonna open up a bigger location. So that's what I started doing. We were in the restaurant business.
That Mongoose was no joke.
Mongoose was on fleek.
That was no joke.
We had the Mongoose out. So we opened up that restaurant. And when I tell you that was the biggest bust in the history of restaurants, bro, we lost mad employees, mad money, had to sell assets, almost bankrupt. I was in front of the labor department for they said I was illegal labor. Imagine coming from college where you're like, the world is great. We are the world. I love everybody. Man, I really want to make an impact on the world. And then you go to the real world, and then somebody from the labor department calls you scumbag, you sure people from their check and all that. It's like, I swear I didn't. And then some guy, he said something the wrong way to me, and I was like, yo, do whatever you want. I was like, cause I got tight, man. I was like, but cause everybody got a tipping point, but and then you go in front of the judge and you're doing all this stuff.
Oh, you just went all the way to court.
Yeah, I went to court. I was in court. Yeah. And you're just there yo, am I going to jail? I'm trying to do the right thing. I was like, we're employee people. It was but the business wasn't making any money. We wasn't making any money. And we started, and you put it on yourself. I'm like, damn, do I suck at business? Because they were doing all right till I showed up.
Yeah.
Right? And then we again, I come from a people my parents, they don't quit. They don't give up. That's not the way.
Yeah.
So we redirected the business. So instead of selling eggs and toast and all that, was put the mango on the menu. Put the mango up there. We turned it into a nightclub. We turned it into more bar business. Mm-hmm. And then we slowly started picking that up. And then we expanded that business. And by the grace of God, we were able to build that business up. Nice. And then but it started horribly. That's why I would say in the entrepreneurial life, people see when you got it, they didn't see all that time when you didn't. You know what I mean? So that's what right after college we got into that business.
Okay.
Yeah, we got into that business, and it was a taxing business. I think anybody who works in the food industry, waiter, waitress, bartender, some of the hardest working people in the world.
Yeah, I've had a lot of jobs. Food wasn't one of them. I worked in food for one day, and I'm not lying. It was in the cafeteria at Rowan.
Oh, word.
And they were like, it was Sodexo. And they're like, yeah, we'll hire you, Josh. You're a people person. We know you. I got there. The first 10 people was like, yo, JD, let me get a burger. And I was like, I cannot work here. The first 10 people asking me for free food. And now I'm like, yo, I can't do this. Put me in the back, maybe wash dishes, do something. And they're like, nah. And I was like, well, I can't come back.
Yeah, y'all gonna be a couple hamburgers short.
Nope. I was like, never again. So I always did grocery stores or group homes.
Oh, that's a good luck. Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So, is that restaurant still up and running?
No. So we sold that restaurant.
Okay.
We sold it, and during that time, I ran for public office in Reading at that time too.
Okay.
Right after, like, I went in Reading, like at 22. I ran for mayor of Reading at 22.
Nice.
Again, because we come from, if it's possible, right? It's possible, and it was cool because like that was around the Barack Obama time, so that's why like inspiration matters. Because I saw him, I was like, yo, black dude, president of the United States. I just want to be a young guy running mayor, being the mayor of Reading, Pennsylvania. Like,
can I ask a question? Why mayor, not like a public office role? Like, what made you go, I want the head honcho role?
Because I believed, like, in the vision, the mayor gets to implement the vision at the highest level. And I believed in, like, just creating the vision. I didn't want to, because, like, in my head, I'm like, the path of a politician makes you a politician. I want to just change people's lives. That's how I saw it, like, right?
Gotcha.
And even when I ran, everybody was like, your dad put you up to run, or somebody else did it, or you didn't do this with the purest of intentions. Because people always got to find a reason why somebody who's doing something different is doing it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't know what the right reason is. I'm doing it because I believe that I can make a difference in my community. And I believe that you trust Mark Zuckerberg, who's my age, running all your data on Facebook, but you don't trust me making a decision when you get to participate in democracy, right? This is for everybody. Everybody gets to run a community. This is one person gets to implement, one person gets to, like, be the voice of the people in that role, right? Yeah. So I thought I was doing a good thing, and then it turned into like, And mind you, I think something I left part before, when I was younger, my parents were very involved in politics. So I've been around that since I was like a kid. Since I was like, when I was 8 years old, I was in the back of like trucks for my guy, Hector Carrillo. He's my dad's friend who ran for mayor of Reading, one of the few Latinos at that time who ran for office. Okay. So we were like, yeah. So I was always around it, and I was always with it. Like, yo, y'all mad? We mad too. Let's go. I'll march with you. Come on, let's do it. So that was like a big thing for me, like public service and like giving back and making policies that I believe would change people's lives. Because again, I know what it's like to grow up in those environments, and I just want to make sure that people get the opportunities to become what they truly want to be. Like, but given a fair chance, what's the best version of you? And how do I create that fair chance so you could be the best version of you? Right? Gotcha. But you got to recognize that when I'm giving you the chance, it's a chance. Like, because sometimes people take for granted, like some people in Reading would say Reading School District is a bad school district. So in their head, they're already thinking negatively about it. My parents were like, damn, you get to go to school and they pick you up on a bus, or they give you all the books at the school. You got the internet at school. You got this, like, what you complaining about? Like, what's, like,
they look at the
how is this
good
bad?
things about it.
How is this bad? But the people who are there is like, this is bad. Like, so it's a mindset thing, right? With that. So like, I've always been about what would happen if given a fair chance, how amazing could these people be? Right? Because we obviously recognize that it's not a fair chance. And we all recognize it because we all go, I wouldn't live there. right? Yeah. So that's always was like something that's always driven me because of how I grew up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you win?
Hell no. It was like, because it was hard to overcome. I wasn't boastful enough or loud enough to kind of rally folks to be like, yo, I like that kid. I'm gonna vote for him. Like the few people that voted for me, that was because like they were like anti-establishment. Like, yo, this young kid, he gonna do it. I remember the one guy came, he was like, older dude too. He's like, we gotta get these old geezers out of here. And it's cool. I think anybody who runs for public office, I think people should try that. Because when you knock on a door, it's the most thrilling thing in the world, because some people are receptive to you. Some people aren't. I remember I knocked on the dude's door and I was like, yeah, my name is Juan Zabala. I'm running for mayor of the city of Reading. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. You guys are all a bunch of crooks. I was like, damn, dog. I wasn't even on that type of time, bro. And but it's interesting because then you get some people who talk to you and they're not nice about it and all that. But it's like, it's a cool experience. I think people should like try it because, like, again, there's no failure in trying, right? Like, what do I have to lose? I got a good story out of it. I can tell you, share it with you.
Okay. Let's say a quick fun fact. Someone that wants to run for office at a young age, what's some tips you would give them?
I would say that you have to be bold. Like you can't be like the older I get, the less I believe in humility. Like I think you could be humble within yourself. You can't be you have to be able to show people that you have the capabilities. And sometimes I'd be like, I think that we should probably do this. And instead of like, yo, we're doing this, and this is why that has to happen.
I love
and like that's a direct, yeah.
Oh man, when people are hesitant and stuff, I'm like, yo, it's either chicken or fish. But I don't know if oh man,
exactly, yeah.
In my people skills, I'm learning that I'm aggressive, but it's just I've been so direct with everything I want to do. It's like, yo, coffee or tea. Yeah. But does the coffee have cream and sugar? I'm like, yo, coffee or tea? That's the two options we got.
That's it.
But I'm learning on my empathy and stuff like that, where when I'm talking to people, I can't be so, like, the more I say, what do you think? I'm like, yo, I trust you. I trust you. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. If it works, it works. It is what it is. But I'm not worried about the effects of things happening.
Yeah.
Like, we fucked up, we fucked up. If it worked, it worked. Let's do it again.
Exactly.
3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Yep. So you said be bold?
You gotta be bold. And you gotta come with solutions. Right? You gotta be bold with your solutions. So the reason that you can be like aggressive and direct, if you're working on a solution, right? Because I always say this, like, we all got problems, right?
Yeah.
The person with the solution understands we got problems too, but they just come in with something to solve that problem, and you gotta be bold about it. Like, yo, we need to put a stop sign at this corner because 5 kids got hit by a car last week. Say it like that.
Yeah.
Like, we need a stop sign right here because, like, as opposed to like, I think that maybe we need a stop sign right here. Like, whatever it is, you got to be like direct. You got to be bold, and you got to be like fearless. Like, right? Because you're playing like, it's like when Allen Iverson went up against Michael Jordan, right? He didn't go, yo, that's Mike. He's way better than me. I don't know, man. I don't know if I belong here. He said, yo, Mike, give me the ball. Yo, Mike, come guard me, dog. Yeah, like that's you gotta be willing to bet on yourself and be bold about how you're betting on yourself. I was a little bit more timid. So I could look back and be like, yeah, I don't know if I would have trusted me with decision making because I didn't come direct. I didn't. My vision wasn't clear to you. So yeah, no, don't vote for me, right? Like, don't vote for me because that makes sense. I think I have a good vision. I think I got it figured out. I didn't convey that to you, so I don't deserve your vote, right? So I think you just got to be bold and be willing to convey your message properly and rally your people, right? And make sure to rally your people, and then learn how to fundraise because a lot of times you broke them up. You're trying to knocking on the door. Yo, hey, nah, it's hard. Yeah.
So there's a lot of money into running for office.
There's money needed.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a lot, but you need to be able to use the funds that you have.
Okay.
Like signs cost money, mailers. Sometimes the day of, you got to have like cards to take people to different locations. You got to pay people to be at the polls, things like that. So there's money involved.
Okay.
In the politics. At the local level, it's not as much as like you get to the national level and like state and all that. But at the local level, you don't need. It's not crazy amounts, but you do need some money.
What's one of the next like decisions where? What'd you do after running for office?
So we were still in the restaurant. So I still had the restaurant going and all that stuff. And then I got into real estate sales. So I started like selling real estate and like doing deals. Okay.
What was one? Are you allowed to say like what's the first? I guess what's a company called where you partner with like Remax and all that?
Yeah. So I worked for. I think it was called Prudential, but then it was called Berkshire Hathaway's or something like that. Yeah. So Prudential. And the first house that I sold, I remember, I'll be hyped telling this story. The first house that I sold was some dude who was coming like, yo, I got to invest in a house here. I got a couple dollars left. And the renting market at the time wasn't that expensive. So this guy, the first house that he bought, the property that he bought was this little house. It was like for $7,000. That's how much the house was.
You said 70 or 7?
7,000.
7?
For the house was 7,000.
70 or 7?
7,000. 3 zeros behind it. $7,000 was the house.
For a house?
Yeah.
What year was this?
2013. Yeah.
Yeah, about 3 of them.
It was affordable. Hey. It was affordable. And then so that was the first house I sold, and my first commission check. You know how they got $1 million listers? They were like, oh, he made $20,000. I was like, I made $350. I was like, but I was hyped though. Like I made that. I was like, yo, this making money. Yo, I'm making money, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like, because it's not because the money you made. You're like, yo, I just had a thought. I did the work and I got something for it. Yo, I got $350.
And did it take 40 hours?
What do you mean? To get the money?
Like, no, Monday through people that work the regular job, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. How fast it make the...
No, it might have took me a little bit because we was grinding for a little bit before we made that 350. That's what I'm saying. Like when you first start out, you're making 350.
Okay.
Like you grinding for months to make 350, but you mad hype when you make that because you went a lot of time without making anything.
Yeah.
So when you made the 350, like, yo, this works.
Okay.
Right? That's all I needed though. That's all I need. I needed, this works. Yeah. And then so I started selling like that.
Okay.
And then I was a licensed realtor. I recently like put my license on the side because I'm more into the investing side now. Like, right. So, but like, I was so like, it was so cool how you build that real estate sales business or any sales business, because again, it's all relationships. Like I sell you a house and then you go, yo, that dude's kind of cool. Like, I don't know, he cool. And then somebody tells you, yo, I'm thinking about buying a house. Yo, you should call my man. He's cool. Like, you don't got nothing else. Like, the house not falling apart. He's cool. Like, and then that's how you keep building the business. But the people who say he's cool are the best people. Like, the best people for marketing purposes are the people just say like that like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he cool. Like, I got a lot of phone calls like, yo, such and such, my cousin bought a house for you. Like, he said you was cool. He said you was cool. Yeah. It was like that. Yeah.
Cool. So how long did you do that? Dabbled in that for?
In the sales? So I did that for, I want to say maybe like a year. Like I slowed recently.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when I moved to this market, it was a little different than like in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania market.
So is it, do you only do in DC now?
No. So I don't. So I put my license in escrow while I figure it out because I'm trying to do more investing side.
Okay.
So yeah. So I went to like the corporate route now for the time being.
Okay.
So,
I know you furthered your education recently. What was that in?
Yeah. So it was in real estate. So I went to. That's why I moved down here. So I went to Georgetown. To get my master's in real estate. So.
Nice.
That was cool because like I was like, master's in real estate. That sounds like real estate something you do. Like it was that, but it was like I didn't understand institutional real estate.
Okay.
Like when institutional real estate is like the like big buildings and how like you get equity investors from like life insurance companies to partner with you, and I'm like, I don't know none of that stuff. But then I was able to learn it, and then now I'm working like more in like affordable housing in a corporate setting. Okay. And asset management. So I work in asset management now for a nonprofit developer. Okay. Yeah. So with the intention of being able to scale like the real estate business that I have. So my family and I, we have a small real estate business. So most of the time, I keep saying my family and I, most of the time we do business together. Because at the end of the day, I always think about this. God forbid something happened to me or any of my, we have something that we can pass along to the family, like, and keep that going for as long as we can keep that going, right? Yeah. And that's the goal. Because like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not going to live forever. None of us are going to live forever, but like legacy could live forever, right? Yeah, your name, your family name. We wish to keep that as long as we can keep it, right? Yeah. Keep it going for as long as we can. So most of the businesses, even if like my siblings aren't involved, I'd be like, come on. Because I don't want to do this stuff by myself. I don't believe in like wealth alone. Like I don't think you could get wealthy alone. I haven't met the person yet who got wealthy alone. Yeah. And I also don't believe that like you do the things that you do just to have like a yacht. Like I think freedom is different than like possessions, right? Like when I was a kid at the store, I didn't want Jordans. I wanted to go outside and play basketball. Yeah. That's the freedom that we always, well, at least that I long for, is that type of freedom to do what I want. Okay. Yeah. With my family, right? Yeah. Like ideally. and
you don't see that too often where everybody's like, I want my own house and I want to live far away from my mom and dad and I want to visit you only on holidays. So it's cool to see that perspective of me and my family do everything together. Well, if it's not everything, we do business together. Yeah. And that's cool to hear about.
Yeah. And it's cool. I got a lot of, and what's cool is that like a lot of us, because we grew up in a business, we understand the ebbs and flows of it. So things is tight right now. Word, buckle up. we gonna try to do the best we can with this. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
So long-term wise, the nonprofit, are you allowed to say the name of who you work with?
Yeah, so it's enterprise community development.
Okay. Yeah. And then what's your specific role with them?
Asset management. So we make sure that the properties are generating the required returns for investors, and so we can keep the property upright.
Okay.
Yeah, it's affordable housing, so to make sure people can live in different high cost areas.
Okay.
Yeah,
is that in DC or
the whole Mid Atlantic region?
Oh wow,
yeah,
so it's like from United States.
Yeah, it's a big organization. Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
What's your life decisions or life plans after this, or do you see yourself in this role forever and ever?
Nah, so my goal is I want to be the one who's making the decisions on the housing. Okay. So I want to, like I said, I want to grow my portfolio, my family portfolio, and ideally the day comes where like everybody in my family, we're making that blank check real thing that we talked about earlier. Yeah. Ideally, that's what we're striving for, right? To be able to acquire more real estate, to be able to grow in areas where we believe growth is going to happen, like Reading. A lot of the properties we have are in Reading, and outside of Philadelphia, and we're trying to like grow the portfolio so that we're able to just keep the family name going, grow an actual business that's like sustainable for the long term, right? Because I want to make sure my niece, my nephew, all that, they the kids that are like, yo, I got it good. I was able to be a kid for a long time.
I don't have to work at the store.
I don't have to work at the store. Yeah, and that's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah, cool. With that.
Last part of the conversation, just give you a couple questions that just pop in my head. What's one thing you know about life now that you wish you knew at an earlier time in life?
I think that your efforts are always rewarded when you work hard. Sometimes when you don't see it right away, you stop working hard, right? I was a straight A student till like 8th grade. And then I didn't get a reward. When I did bad, the punishment wasn't worse than the reward that I got. And the one day, I think something that always stuck with me that my father told me was that when I didn't want to do my homework or I didn't want to do certain things, it's like, you're only cheating yourself, right? Like you don't do your homework because you're mad at me. That's okay. Like it's you get the grade, right? Yeah. You cheat yourself if you don't do the work. And sometimes you got to the point where you're doing it because of your parents or because you're mad at your parents. You don't want to do it. I'll show you. Like, but ultimately you're the one who is the benefactor of your hard work. So why not work hard so you can get the things that you want? Because when you're younger, you can't see it. You can't see it. But I don't regret it because I think it's taught me to have empathy for the people who are in that same situation now, who I see them not working hard, but I could be like, yo, this is what could happen if you do work hard, right? Yeah. And I can show you an example. I can show you Josh. I can show you I can show you an example, right? So yeah, I would work a little bit harder in school and like different avenues. I was on a football team. My bad.
No, you good.
I was on a football team where I played my senior year. I played football. We won our first game, and then we lost the rest of them. We went 1-9.
Wow.
And the whole time I was there, I was like, I didn't play. So I was telling people, I was like, I was on the football team. I participated in football. I didn't play. But like
the bench warmer.
Right? But like I learned the importance of like hard work there too, because I was like, I was living off of the reward of the people who played before me who were good, right? Like they were good. That didn't mean I was good because they were good, right? Yeah. I had to do the work if I wanted the rewards of being good. And it took like losing all those games because the teams were good before that.
Yeah.
Losing all those games where you go, oh shit, I wish I would have started sooner and I wish I would have understood this a little bit better.
So what's a wall that you and your family hit in this, like a struggle? And what gets you over that wall? Like you said, sometimes things don't work the way they do. Am I wording this right?
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Cool. Yeah. Like I think a lot of times the trust goes away when the numbers start swaying a little bit. People go, yo, I thought we was making money here. What happened?
Yeah.
Right? And when there's like not that trust, that happens in any business, right? And more if you're a family, you're like, you internalize that.
Yeah.
Like, yo, why would he cheat me? He's my brother. Why would he do that? That's my son. Yeah. That's my nephew. Why would he not my nephew, whatever, like that. So why would he do me like that? But when you get the opportunity where you're like, understand the ebbs and flows of business, I think with time you recognize, they're not trying to jerk me. I think the business just went bad.
Yeah.
So what it does is it teaches you how to be more transparent throughout the business. So the good and the bad. Because if you hide the bad, right, then people think there's distrust because you hid the bad.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't tell the story. Like, why is there less money? Well, the kitchen just fucking got messed up, or the tenant just left the shit a mess.
Yeah.
And now we got to fix this. And then that's going to take a hit on the bottom line, right? So, and then they'll be like, send me pictures. But then you send the picture.
Right now.
Yeah, FaceTime right now. Show me what's going on. And then, right? But when you're transparent, it curbs that a little bit.
Okay.
But trust is in any business, but especially in a family business, because, and another thing I think was like with the family business is also like making it a business instead of family, right? Like you got to talk business. Like you got to like, it can't be casual. Like it's business. It's like business. Like, yo, this is getting tight. We got to change this. We got to change this direction. This is what we got to do. And it has to be business versus like family. Cause like, yo, you the little brother, you got to go do that. And I can't right now. Like, you know, like, so
Okay.
Just be transparent. Yeah.
And lastly, how was the transition from moving to from Pennsylvania to Washington, D.C.?
I love Pennsylvania. I'll say that, right? I love the city of Reading. I love Pennsylvania. And I like those places. DC is cool. I like DC is cool, right? DC is cool. I don't know if it's home, right? It's never gonna be home.
Yeah.
And I think part of it has to do with like the identity of the place for me. Like when you go to Philadelphia, you go to Reading, you feel it. Like you feel it. Like you don't like that. Those places, like you gotta be a part of it. Like here, it's like you're just here. Like everybody's just like from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they're just here, and we're just coexisting together in this place. In Pennsylvania, at least, in Reading, at least, because that's home. Like you feel it. Like if you go to Reading, you hear the fucking reggaeton and the bachata blasting in the cars. Like you feel it when you're there. You feel the culture, the essence of the people, and you got to adapt to that. It doesn't have to adapt to you. And I think here's like, don't get me wrong. There's places in DC that have a real sense of culture, but for the most part, this is like a lot of transplants. We're living here, coexisting together. And I'm more like a community guy. Like I'm like big on community. And I have a small community here, but it's not the same as like when you're in your element, in your own community. It's like, it's different. But and I won't downplay DC. I think DC has a lot of opportunities, great opportunities for a lot of people. But home is home for me. You know what I mean? And I love where I'm from. I love my people from Pennsylvania, my Dominican people, my Puerto Rican, all those folks that is up there. But DC's a great place. I don't want to badmouth it either because it's giving opportunity to me. I don't want to be one of those people like, they hooked you up and then now you acting like brand new. Like, it's a good place to be. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and I think people can thrive here if they choose to.
Cool. Well, my brother, I appreciate you for taking some time and sharing us with some life decisions. We will see you on the next one.